The real gift of songwriters is that they underwrite a period. They actually capture the essence, you know. When I was 18, 17, or how old I was, 16 and 17, going to high school, and I heard James Taylor the first time. How the fuck did he know I was thinking that? I grew up on a farm outside Narnagoon, south of Narnagoon Township, a dairy and potato farm, the youngest of 8 children, and a 9th child was younger than me, but he died as a baby. Had many wonderful memories. So it's a good childhood growing up there, and probably seeded my love of country. I have vivid memories of lying in the grass and looking at the clouds and wishing I was a cow so I could eat it and things like that, usually with my dog, not far away. I had a year of boarding school which I hated. I rode a horse and used to go places and always sing very loud on my horse. It was a time to go out and just let go when you're riding your horse. Went to America when I was 17, back long time before internet or mobile phones, and you got maybe 1 or 2 phone calls. The world stopped just past Narnagoon for me as a child, so obviously I discovered that there was more to Narnagoon as I grew up, but going to America really was stepping out of my comfort zone to a large extent. It was a great experience, without a doubt, and made some lifelong friends. Not that I really engaged with that continually when I came home, because for me I was heartbroken, missing my family and missing home. So I could never justify the trip in terms of weighing those up. The homesickness was overwhelming.
I hear a whisper swirling in the wind, sweet in the air with a breath of spring, and I close my eyes. I'm lying.
Dad was a hard worker, worked long hours on the farm, tried to do what he can for his family. Was a grumpy thing. We all laughed at the end of his life when he'd had a couple of strokes, whatever the strokes did to his brain that made him nice. But he always had this rough edge to him, Dad, and his way of engaging people was sort of a rough and tumble way. There was a time in my life where I was very sad, and he really was at a loss. But he would just sit with me, and that was as good as anything. Both Mum and Dad grew up in Narnagoon. I think Dad came to Narnagoon when he was 3. Mum was born in Morwell, but she came to Narnagoon at a young age, and so they met, they grew up together. So Mum had a very strong loyalty to her local community. Apparently I look a little bit like her, and so it's always a compliment. I sort of feel she shines through me sometimes. I think it's her kindness that most sticks out. She was kind to so many people. She was incredibly dedicated to her family and worked long and hard. You know, 8 kids is a lot of work.
And I close my eyes and I'm walking again along the dusty track. It's taken me back, and I close my eyes and I'm going home.
Then I went out back. I wanted to go out back, and I ended up at Santa Teresa Mission outside Alice Springs for a year. And I was just working in the library. I just wanted to go out back. And I probably had my friends in America would tell me later, I did talk about an ambition to go and meet Aboriginal people, or find out more. But I basically wanted to go out back, so I ended up out there, and that was life-changing.
Out there, along the highway, past the rider in the tree.
I went to school at Druin High with Aboriginal people, and I was aware and conscious of them and all that sort of thing, but not the depth of culture and place and spirit. And going there even as a youngster, I was 20, the people just welcome you. If you're in their country, that's one of the best things that explains country, because you're in their country, so therefore they welcome you. And they straight away give you a family to belong to, everyone has to. And so that sits very, as you could imagine, I fitted in well with that from the family that I'd come from. I think what I learned as a 20 and 21-year-old in that immensely rich environment didn't really, it was seeded then. I watched, I took it in, I experienced, I loved all of that, but I don't think it really came home in terms of understanding until much later. It grew. It was seeded then.
People got no hurry, no payment plans, starry skies in the evening, for riches in their hands, for riches in their hands.
Given my interest and connection with writing and the songs that I had attempted to write, and I mean, I love songs. And even in, I think in Aboriginal culture, I think the word song has such a rich depth to it. I mean, song tells story. Song and story, same thing, Song lines, is history and story, and it's the whole wealth and life of an area. So I love songs. I think they're a little mini pack of power. It was a natural progression with my love of music, and as far as I can see it, my love of writing, to want to write songs, and I dabbled with it, but I really wanted to be better at it. There was a lot of people that I had admiration for in their ability to write songs, heaps. And Charles is one of them, without a doubt. I love his way of writing, or his songs are just so well constructed. I don't understand musically how well constructed they are. I just know what I enjoy, but I love what he does with the words.
I don't know how long it was actually kind of a teacher to student kind of relationship, because Bonesy just quickly presented me with lyrics and wanted me to put music to them. And I mean, that's a great kind of songwriting lesson, to be able to explain to a student or whoever, the person that you're writing with, the reasons why you choose to do what you do with the chords and the melody, because of what is there with the lyric. So that seemed to me like, oh, this would be a very interesting way to talk about songwriting kind of thing, to start this process.
That first meeting that I had with Charles, it's very, very hard not to feel comfortable with Charles. He's very engaging, He welcomes you as you are. And there's a certain little dishevelledness about Charles that makes you comfortable straight away.
I trust her with regard to the bigger picture kind of thing. I'm just looking at the smaller detail here and the accented and not accented syllables, just to make sure that when there's the melody that I come up with can just keep on, that pattern keeps on returning, because therefore the listener's not thinking about the melody, and the listener's not thinking about the lyric, the listener's not thinking about the rhythm nor the syllables nor anything. They're just taking in the song as a whole.
Some of them were poems that I took, and he just worked with a poem that I had, and he seemed to have a deep respect. I think obviously he has a deep respect for people's writings, and it was a joy for me. So that very first time in July 2019, I turned up with a scribble of a song, went home with a beautiful one. And from then I was hooked.
What would come out of those sessions with Charles would be some rough recordings where he'd just have a microphone in the room, and either he or Bones would be singing just to a rough sort of acoustic guitar accompaniment. And often I'd have to take those rough recordings, work out what Charles was playing first off, and then try to perhaps restructure them a little, arrange them a little. But often, what Charles had done, I just take it straight from what he'd done, and just often we'd have to change the key, especially if Charles was singing. It often didn't suit Bones' voice, so we'd change the key and just rearrange it a little, and just developed it from there.
And I also felt really comfortable with just saying, no, that's not working. Can, just come back with it, kind of, and, fix it. I'm not a fixer.
There's no point putting a word in someone's mouth that doesn't belong in that mouth. So it's what they say is where the wealth is. And I think in Charles's songwriting, I don't know, who am I to talk about Charles's songwriting? But I think what he's taught me is that don't try and put the words that you think sound good. Just put the words that are.
It didn't occur to me you were in trouble, how hard it was to keep afloat. It would have been easy enough to wait out there and offer a hand, but it never crossed my mind. It never crossed my mind.
I've just enjoyed kind of watching it sail off, and Bonesy and I discussed, where should it go, kind of thing. And I said, look, just take it to Doug. He'll be great.
If we went, lives in my heart, it's part of me.
Yeah. Yes, it felt like, yeah.
Lives in my heart, it's part of me.
Lives in my heart.
Lives in my heart.
Lives in my heart. It's part of me.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll worry about that when we get to the end.
Okay.
It's been an absolute privilege to not only work with Doug, And thanks to Charles, I got to work with Doug, and he's been extraordinary. He's a wonderful producer, but an extremely talented musician in many ways, and a beautiful singer and director, creative director. So, but to work in a space like this with someone like that is even more blessed.
They come in here with a guitar and a vocal and just sing me the songs, and we organise the tempo and figure out what needs to come, what needs to go.
He's immensely supportive and creative and, yes, encouraging, and takes you where you are and loves all your little foibles even, you know. He's not necessarily, while he tries to get the best out of you, he doesn't get over worried about something being perfect. He loves the character of your voice.
I'll always go, do that again, do that again, do that again. Within a certain degree, because you also got to let the vocalists sort of have their own style and their own way. I've learnt over a few years of trying to sort of push people in a certain direction. There's only so far you can push, and then you just need to pull back and just allow them to be.
He's been quite a mentor along the way, and it is encouraging in the sense that it's really it inspires you and gives you confidence.
Bones has got her own voice. It's very unaffected. She's very easy and open about it, and she doesn't try and sort of be something that she's not. She just sings the way she sings. It's got a real rawness and honesty to it that I have to be very careful about making it a focal point of the mix. A lot of times you'd want to sort of, you know, sit the vocal right in the mix and have it all sort of like a big wall of sound, but I think because she's such a storyteller, it's really important that we keep that pretty focused. But yeah, she's got her own style, which is inimitable.
Yep. What are we going to start on? A misspent youth is very handy.
Okay, so what do you want to sing? Do you want to sing first, or should we get Greg to play some guitar first?
We'll sing, I think. So, yeah. Well, these cities, they crumble in time. You'll see what my father gave me lives in my heart. It's part of me. What my father gave me lives in my heart. It's part of me. I know where home is for me, I suppose. And yet it's no longer at Melrose. Once upon a time it used to be centred around that particular place, but it's no longer centred around there. This area, well, within my home. But I could find home in other places. But there's a comfort and an ease when you walk in, you know, when you walk in your door and you know you're home. I don't know if I can really put that in words. It's that sigh. It's that when your shoulders drop and you see faces. I think that's important. when we moved back here, I had a really strong urge to, the faces that I see every day, I want them to be the faces of people I know. I think in the sense that the stolen gen, what it means for them going home and looking for home is sort of, it's a very real longing. But it's also a longing that speaks for the whole world, for all people. That, I don't know, for me, when I look at the stars, I sort of think that maybe we came from there. And I can look in the ocean too, and I almost feel the same way. These power shells, they say they come from deep in the ocean. And I think we have a longing that can stretch back. And so our longing is connected to where we've begun, but we don't know where we began really. It could have been longer before that. And it was. So it's comforting. I feel at home when I look at the stars. And I do feel a great homeness about looking across the water. So I think there's stars and waters somewhere in our background. But going back, we all go back.
Going back, spirit rising, river calling, spirit rising, song is singing.
Aboriginal people have taught me about what spirit is, not directly, but by living it, and that all things have a spirit. And where your spirit is at home, where it belongs, where it's comfortable. With people, with land, places. Going back, people use it. People use it. Going back means going back home. Going back. And it's a strong sense of belonging and connection.
And spirit rising, going back. I'm going back, spirit rising, river calling, and spirit rising. The song is singing, and spirit rising. I'm going back.
Bones is, many years ago I decided she was the person I wanted to spend my life with, and nothing's changed there. She's still the one I want to spend my life with. Gave me two beautiful boys and made a beautiful home here. And I just want to stay with her for the rest of my life. She means everything to me. Oh, you're getting me all emotional now, Chris.
But Greg has always been a great supporter of me singing. He always encouraged me and has been a full encouragement on this project. And I don't think I would have even begun to undertake it if it wasn't for Greg.
Like, I know you hear the term all the time, soulmate, but she's my soulmate.
The boys have always been great supporters. They're beautiful musicians themselves, and yeah, it's been a lovely journey with them and with Greg. I'm proud of the way that we can fight like tooth and nail and then still find that the love hasn't gone.